joining us today for the Fall 2014 International Student Panel. The purpose of this event is to broaden our international views, expand our knowledge of various cultures, and most importantly, learn how we can better serve international students. Students today will share their perspectives, discuss how our campus is enhanced with their experiences, and answer questions that we may have. First, however, let me highlight that Student Development and Enrollment Services has made a concentrated effort into cultivating a more engaged and inclusive environment for our international student body here at UCF. Through leading various initiatives or helping to support existing ones, the SDS Internationalization Committee, under the direction of the SDS Associate Vice President Delane Priest, has been developed to advance the UCF experience for our international students. If you're a member of that committee, please stand to be recognized. Through their efforts, these individuals and departments have made a difference at UCF. The Internationalization Committee has been a great value to all at UCF. Additionally, I would like to highlight the efforts by two of our outstanding graduate assistants, Johanna Reese and Monica Pierrette, for all their behind-the-scenes effort in making today's panel a reality. Would you both also stand for recognition for your efforts on this project? It is now my privilege and honor to introduce this year's moderator for the panel, Julia Bashenko, who will introduce the panel members for us. Julia is currently a student, a highly engaged one at that, and senior here at UCF, and actually served as a member of last year's panel. She comes to us from Russia and serves as the esteemed president of the International Student Association, ISA, working on programs for the betterment of campus life for international students, and somebody who I've had the privilege of working with. We're thrilled that she has agreed to serve as our moderator, so let me at this time bring her up to begin the process. Julia?
Welcome everybody to our second annual Internationalization Student Panel. As you heard, my name is Julia and I will be the moderator. And I want to introduce our amazing panelists, and there's 5 of them. I will start with Julia Orrico. She is originally from Brazil, and she's studying here biomedical sciences with minor in science engineering. Julia says that she loves the opportunities at UCF, and not only academic resources, but also the cultural diversity that makes us learn and grow so much. And Julia's involvement on campus is being Global UCF Peer Mentor in the College of Success Strategies class. If you could wave at everybody, acknowledge yourself. Our next panelist is Marie Reiterova. She was born in Czech Republic and she was raised in Luxembourg. Her program of study is Masters in Mass Communications. And her favorite thing about UCF is the size and popularity, and people in Europe recognize UCF when she wears a T-shirt. They would know that UCF is actually a large college here in America. And Marie's involvement on campus is she's on the UCF volleyball team. She's the building manager at Recreation and Wellness Center as well. If you could recognize Marie at this panel. Our next panelist is Nadezda Mishutina. She comes from Russia, and she's studying exercise and sports science here at UCF. Her favorite thing about UCF is that she loves UCF's endless opportunities to grow. As soon as you get involved with anything, you can see and feel that UCF really cares about you. Nadezda's involvement at UCF is she is the group exercise instructor and supervisor at the gym and Sport and Exercise Science Club at UCF. She motor development program for toddlers at Orange County. She's a participant of that program as well. If you could recognize Nadezda. Our next panelist is Nadira Sookram. She comes originally from Australia, and her program of study is marketing and international business. She also studied at the University of Canberra's Study Abroad program, and she was an exchange student, so she went abroad. Her favorite thing about UCF is its diversity and that you can meet a new person every day. Her involvement on campus is that she is the president of the Night Study Abroad Club Connection. She's the resident assistant. She's the site leader alternative break program. She volunteered. She was a part of the Volunteer UCF, and she's also a part of a Phi Eta Sigma Honor Society. If you could acknowledge Nadira. And also, we had another panelist, but unfortunately, due to being busy with UCF and schedules and classes, we had Andrew Galizia. He was actually born in Venezuela, and his program of study was advertising, but unfortunately, he could not attend. But we have another great student, and his name is Sharif or Wolf Abdur. He comes from India, and his program, he is a grad student, and he's earning his master's degree in industrial engineering. Thank you. If you could acknowledge Sharif. All right, thank you very much, panelists, for participating and volunteering your time, and also thank you everybody for coming out today. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the questions.
The first question is, tell us why you chose to come to UCF and the process that you had to go through to become a student.
I have an answer.
Go ahead.
I came to the United States 5 years ago, and I was so passionate about to go back to school. I've started university back in my country, but unfortunately when I came here, I realized I'm not that good, and my English was so poor, and I had to go back to college first. In college, I realized I'm not good enough for college as well, so I had to go take just English classes. So when I started taking English classes, I've seen one girl. She had jacket UCF, and she was so proud of that school, and she said, "Oh, I got accepted." And I don't know why, it just clicked in my mind that UCF is the best school here. And then I just checked on the map. That was huge. It's not like 3 buildings or 1 building. It's a big school, and it's just got in my mind, when I finish college, I will get to that school, and I'm here.
Thank you.
For me, because I'm from such a small country, Luxembourg is one of the smallest countries in Europe and even in the world. I was looking for something that was big, and just seeing pictures was really like, oh my gosh, this is like huge, and it was like really nice to go to something that is bigger and where you don't just like know everybody is. America is like the land of the opportunities, and that was attracting me.
So for me, coming from India, which is more a tropical place, Florida seemed to be a destination to be. And with so many different companies on, like, you have resorts, it's a hospitality state as such. People even coming from different states of the United States do say that hospitality over here is good. Like, people are kind and warm, welcoming. So that is one aspect. And then the other one is it's one of the largest campuses. You have a diverse group of people. So it's a good interactive place to be in. So we have good people, good place, a good place to grow. So that's why I chose UCF.
Okay, so I was finishing high school and I was looking for new opportunities, and I decided to look for universities here in US. One day I went to an educational fair there in my city, Brasilia, in Brazil, and I saw UCF and I saw the buildings and I fell in love, and I chose to come here because of the weather, and people here are very friendly and nice.
So I'm actually not an international student. I'm from Orlando, but I did study abroad and utilize our international facilities that UCS has to offer. But I chose UCF. Growing up in Orlando, I had always heard about it, and I had heard about all of my rival schools like UF and FSU, but UCF seemed to me like it had the most opportunity, the most possibilities for making myself successful in the field, because I'm studying also international studies. So UCF's programs appealed to me, and I think that it was also aesthetically pleasing. So that's why I chose to come here too.
Thank you.
And another question that I have for you is, what barriers did you have to overcome to feel at home at UCF and in Orlando in general, and how did the university assist in this process to adjusting?
the hardest for me, I was really afraid of my English, and as I came very young and I'm just a freshman, I came really afraid, but we have a nice program that is Global UCF, and they supported me with every single thing, through every single step, so bank account, anything I needed, any questions about the culture, because sometimes we're here and we don't know how to behave, and they always clarify everything.
For me, I think it was the same language barrier. When you need to say something, it just comes out the wrong way, and you can't explain what you want. But that's the major thing for me.
One thing I would say is back in India, we used to have a single class, and we had to have students are constant, but the teachers go in and come out for different courses. So making friends was much more easier. You have good standard classmates. Over here, you go to different classes for different courses, and you just can't, off the blue, ask a person for their contact information to be friends. So unless you have some group interaction or anything, so making the first step to find friends in a class kind of was difficult for me, but then by the end of it, you find good friends. So that was kind of the struggle I had.
I think, as they already said, language barrier was something. Understanding jokes and this slang was really different, because I learned British English at school before I came here. And then coming here, everybody was like faster and people were cutting words out, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. So it was hard, really hard to understand jokes because the humor is different. But I think also just the first couple of months, it was hard to feel really, I was welcome, but it was hard to make like friends, because you're like, you feel like still really isolated. So the warming up process was hard. But me being on a team with, surrounded by like 15 other girls, it was easy for me to make friends, and they became, over those 5 years, they became my family.
I mean, like I said, I'm from here, but I think a struggle for anyone coming to the school is meeting people. Like they said, it's really hard to get lost, or it's really easy to get lost in the crowd and kind of just go through the motions and go to your classes and sit there, take notes, and leave. So I think that meeting people is something you have the opportunity to do, but putting yourself out there is hard. But getting involved with like Global UCF, the International Student Association, all of those programs is really helpful to, especially international students, to meet people that are in the same situations as them and meet students that are domestic and kind of form those relationships.
Thank you.
The next question I have for you is, how can faculty and staff support international students to be successful in college? Do you have peer mentors, especially for grad students? I know that you have mentors that you're assigned to. Is there a peer-to-peer program? Could you talk about how faculty and staff help you with your adjustment?
Well, I could start out by saying I'm a resident assistant on campus, and we recently got international students in my building over in Towers, and from that I learned about a lot of the resources that we have for international students that I had no clue as a student existed before those students moved into my building. So of course I knew about Study Abroad UCF, and I found out about Global UCF and how much they did before the international students got in by setting up their rooms, you know, putting packages inside, little welcome packages. Their supervisors prepped my boss to prep the resident assistants to understand what was going on. We had one of the graduate assistants that works in housing, who is an international student himself. He came and gave a little bit of, I would kind of call it sensitivity training to the RAs about how to interact with international students, how to make them really feel welcome and at home on campus. So I would say Global UCF was a huge partnership that I think, from at least a domestic student standpoint, really helps us understand international students. And then, of course, Study Abroad UCF, the International Student Association throws on great programs that people can get involved with. And then I'm president of the Night Study Abroad Association, which is a newer thing which we're trying to create even more opportunities. So I feel like faculty and staff they have a great foundation for helping international students, and it's just growing as our international student basis grows as well.
At my work and RWC, we have open door policy, and it helps a lot because whenever I feel that I'm weak in something, I always can go to faculty staff, to anybody, and I'm not scared to ask questions because I know they always are helpful and have an answer for me.
Yes. As being part of Global UCF, we are very helpful with the students, but I had this experience of being the student that was helped. So we grow as a family, and I don't mean family as you did something wrong, okay, but you did something wrong, let's face the consequences. You can do this, this, and this. Not just say it's okay, but let's fix it. And anytime you need anything, as I already mentioned, they are there to help us.
A few aspects which I might add is there are a few nuances which, within the department you need to know when you join in, but you really don't know about it until you come to the place. So first, in the department orientation, it'll be good if they bring out the nuances like to how to get the graduate assistantship sort of things, like what all student needs to do before they can pursue such and such thing. So that could be better done right now. That could help students. I think that's the only thing I feel.
I think building relationships from the point when you come on campus, having a mentor is definitely something that would help. But like having those people around you that know you and support you from day one is really important to have. And just like having people that whenever you have a bad day, it's really nice if somebody just asks you, how are you, like how's your family, or just having a really good relationship and having a deep conversation with people that you trust is really important. So having those people is crucial.
Yes, definitely. So this question kind of relates to the audience because a lot of you are staff and faculty here on campus. So I would like to open the questions to the panelists to you. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and ask the panelists maybe something that you have in mind that you want to ask. Go ahead.
Is there anything that's completely different from your country? I know there's a lot of things, but is there anything that when you came here was a culture clash for you, something that you probably noticed in the first week?
There is no uniform. I was always excited about tables that we have in the classroom where your desk attached to the chair. Always was something cool for me. And that long distance walk, and if you have class here, then you have to walk 15 minutes, and it's something different. We don't have universities that big in my country.
Food. I got food. The thing is, back home you have other cuisines, but then they are more localized, like you have the local flavor into it. But over here you have people from different countries themselves, so you can get a better taste of what they actually really are. So that was something new for me. It was a good experience. Yeah.
I think whenever you start a class and a teacher tells you that you can call them by their first name was really shocking to me. In my country, you have to treat them with respect by calling them Mr. and Mrs. and here it's okay to call somebody with their first name. That was something very different. But I think that's really good because you feel more like a friend and you can talk to them about everything and anything. And back home, it's more like you just have to talk to them about school and that's it. And there's a line that you can't cross. And here it's where you're freer. It's more free.
I would say definitely the culture, because I come from a country that we are very friendly and all together, and here everybody's looking after themselves alone, and so I had to learn a lot how to be okay with myself, to go after my things by myself.
Another thing, if I might add again, is over here we have this concept of small talk or loose talk. Like, if you're standing in a line, you just don't stand there meddling with your phone. You just have a small talk like, how's the weather? So those kind of things you really don't see back home. Like, that small talk interaction which makes you feel comfortable. That's something I really appreciate, which is over here.
Do we have any more questions in the audience? Yes.
We've talked about some of the resources that are offered for international students. If you see a problem with connecting to those resources, what are they, or what resources particularly stand out to you?
Could you repeat that? Sorry.
Yeah, sure. Did you feel? Let me rephrase it. Did you ever feel it was difficult to connect to resources that you needed to take advantage of UCF and all the opportunities that are offered from the school?
Sure.
I would say yes, because here we have a lot of resources and lots of them online. This is another thing that's different from my country. Computers, yeah, we have computers, but everything is on paper. You have to write things down and give it to a professor. And here you have to do everything online, and all resources as well. And I was frustrated when I couldn't. I know it's there, but how to get there, how to get what I need. It took me a while to learn, but things out staff that navigate us to show us every single step how to do it. Yeah, and then we are able to use all resources that UCF has for us.
I would say that there's ample resource, but the resource that we need, it's we have to seek for it. Like sometimes, if you consider the free printing which you have over here, the weekly $2 free printing. So that I actually did not know until a month after my course was going on. So I used to sit and print back outside and do stuff. So that was something I had to seek through some of the friends, classmates. Like I said, finding friends in your own department is was hard. So once you get to know, then you find it out from them. So that was something which was a setback. So that's one thing I would put forward.
I am very grateful for having Global UCF because I never had any problem. And I think the key is patience. Because a lot of Americans are here and they knew since they were kids how or somehow what to expect being here. And we come here and it's totally different. So sometimes we have questions that might seem silly, but for us it's not. So there at Global UCF, any questions, they have all the answers.
I think there's a lot of resources, but everybody needs different ones, and I was not involved with Global UCF at all, and I have only recently heard of it because I had other resources, but I think there's a lot of them, but because everybody needs different ones, it's hard to get to the ones that you really need.
That's definitely true. The UCF offers a lot of resources, and sometimes it's kind of hard to find them, but they're all there. Do we have any more questions from the audience? Okay, the third row first.
Yeah, how has the campus changed in regards to friendliness towards you? What's been the most noticeable change in the time you've been here in a positive way that we're serving international student community back?
I really can't tell how it changed because I feel like I just didn't know. I'm here at UCF for 2 years, and first year I didn't know lots of stuff, and now I get familiar with most interesting things that are going on. And specifically for me, it is very, very friendly, and I can get support anywhere. Unfortunately, like Marie said, we don't know about some sources, so I can't compare first year at UCF and second year. So now it seems very friendly, but I don't know how it was last year.
Yeah, it goes for me as a grad student, I just have 2 years. So in the first semester, it was what all can I do? But right now, I'm going to be graduating, and I'm wondering why didn't I know all these beforehand? So it's the same thing about, like, you slowly come to know the place. I think it's pretty much regarding any new place you go in. So slowly adapting to the place and getting to know the place, that you find a lot of things that you would like to do, but then like, since I'm graduating, it'll be like too late, that kind of thing. So it's pretty much getting used to the surroundings sort of feel. Yeah.
No more responses? If now we can go ahead and get with the next question and that.
Hi there. My colleague and I are with the Alumni Association, so we're just curious if you plan to stay in the U.S. once you complete your degree, and if you go home back to your country, what things do you still expect from UCF? What would you look to UCF for resources once you graduated if you go home? If you go home.
I'm not sure what I would expect to do. I mean, like, from UCF ASIN, but right now I'm looking at my options for getting the OPT so that, like, I can get job experience, and being major in STEM programs. So it's like 1 year OPT and then you get another 17 months. So it's like almost a 2.5 years experience, which is pretty valuable. So it's pretty much about getting into it. And another aspect which I would bring up is I've been working with the career services regarding all these things. So, I mean, they've done a great job with the resume critique and bringing different companies in. But as an international student, like, Lockheed Martin is right across, Siemens is there. So some companies like government, there are a large number of government institutions which come in, but you need security clearance for it. So as an international, there's not much you can do without being a citizen. So bringing in more companies that aid international students, like without the security clearance, or which gives more opportunities to get an experience, that'll be awesome. So that's pretty much what I would, maybe in terms of career services, is what I would expect while graduating.
I am planning to stay in the United States, but I would love to go back to my country and bring experience that I get here. My plan is get traveling job, so I think that's not going to be a problem to go sometimes visit my friends and family, but I definitely going to stay here. I'm not sure about Florida because it's kind of hot state for me. I would like to move somewhere, but yeah, I would like to stay here.
I don't really know. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can.
I don't really know how I would, what I would expect after I graduate from UCF. Just because the school system is very different in Europe. But it would be really nice to like reconnect with maybe alumni that studied here. Also, it would be nice to have UCF alumni to reconnect with them back home.
My intention is to go back to Brazil and work on SUS, that is the health system. So I think that Brazil has a lot of resources that either we are not using in the right way or we are just wasting. So I would like to go back and fix some problems that we have.
Well, graduating from UCF as just an alumni here, I'd love to be able to keep in touch with what's going on in the university. I love, like, I read the UCF page for like today at UCF. I read stuff like that. So as an alumni, I would love to keep in touch with what the university is doing, what certain programs like the STEM programs are creating, all of our innovation, how we're growing as a research university. And then I would love to get invitations to come back to alumni events, and like if they were doing reunions or something like that, I'd love to hear about those things.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the best parts about UCF is such a big alumni network, is that you can probably be anywhere around the world or the nation and you can find somebody in the same spot who went to the same school and connect and maybe help each other and have each other back. Okay, do we have any more questions in our audience?
Hello everyone. Here at UCF we put on a lot of events and programs for all of our different students. So as international students, our office is always curious about what types of events or programs that international students are attracted to. So if you could maybe share some of your personal insight as to what type of events or programs you've actually attended here that you like or that you'd like to see more of.
first thing I might put up is any sort of networking events, like to get new people, to get to know new people, and making good contacts who can help you in your career as well as with your coursework. That'll be a good event to have. And I have been to a few events, like casual events, which pretty much is like socializing. So those are ample, and I just want to say, yes, those are the ones which really help us out. Like it's like breaking the shell and being part of the herd.
I really like the event, Nights Give Back. Unfortunately, we do it only once a year, and I don't know why. I like, not because we get T-shirts, most people. I like to go places, and I even didn't know that we have certain camps and places where people help disabled people or elderly people. And while we were volunteering, I actually get familiar with those people and got information. So I think if we would have more events like that, that would be great for our future.
What other events would you like to see? More something that relates to your culture, or maybe something that helps you get adjusted to the culture here?
I really think that Nights Give Back is very important because I was raised with this volunteer thing in Brazil, and in my opinion, we are always really interested in culture events. So it's like to remember a little bit of who you are and not living here, just staying here and oh, I'm from there and I miss it so much, but I know why I'm here. I have a goal.
You guys want to go ahead to the next question? Do you have any more questions from the panel, from the audience? All right, we'll take one more question and then we'll go ahead and ask another question. But keep your questions in your head. We'll do another round of session again. Go ahead.
Nadira, as a domestic student who actually had their international experience abroad and not at UCF, did you learn anything from that university or that experience that UCF could learn from in terms of resources, groups, activities, or events?
So I studied abroad in Canberra, Australia this past spring semester, and after I spent a great 2 years, 2.5 at UCF here, and when I went to the University of Canberra, it was a much smaller school. There were only 13,000 students, but they had the culture itself is more laid back, and they have a more tight-knit international student group, I found, just because all of them live on campus and it was all of us in such close quarters. So coming back, I learned that I got the most out of my experience because of the domestic students that were in Canberra that planned events for the international students that were things that they could only do in Canberra. So we went on a caves trip where we just looked at rocks basically all day, but it was great because it was something I couldn't do here in Florida. They took us to their I went on Anzac Day to the memorial and went to the dawn service and did stuff like that. And I think the most meaningful parts that I got from my experience were that the students that were from the area showed me things that they grew up doing that were very personal to them, and so I wasn't going and just doing the touristy thing, and those things made my experience the best. So Chris is the advisor for Night Study Abroad Association, and we're getting on our feet, but we're trying to provide opportunities to students in addition to the International Student Association and Global UCF that kind of give our international students opportunities that they can only get here in Orlando. So we took them to Wekiwa Springs at the beginning of the semester, kind of doing stuff that's not just the typical, like, hey, I'm studying at UCF, why don't I go to Miami for the weekend? So why don't I go to Universal Studios or, just Mickey's Christmas party, stuff like that. I feel like what I got from abroad was the most meaningful things to at least my group of international students was taking full advantage of the opportunities in the city we were studying that were just native to that.
My next question is, how were you able to find support group, and do you still have that relationship today? For example, did you find a support group with your culture, or did you try to stick with American support group? And how did your relationships last throughout your presence here at UCF?
On start, we have great thing going on at UCF tabling, where all those groups that we have, they promoting what they do. So I think that's very important to join groups that you interested in. It doesn't mean you have to get involved something related to a major. It can be different. So I was involved with Sport and Exercise Science Club and Russian Club. I had no idea what they're doing, but I was just interested to see. It was scary to join club because you don't know what to expect. But as long as I came to the first meeting and I realized everybody's the same like me, and everyone is scared to talk, and it's not just me, but little by little we got to the point that helping each other we can get somewhere higher. And I think joining those groups is very helpful.
I have a Brazilian group. It's BRASA, Brazilian Student Association, and it's very important for me to have a little bit of my culture. So we have our meetings that we discuss politics, whatever is going on there back home. We go out together, we have all the support, and we organize volunteer things. So it's a very supportive group.
I think my support group, I found it from day one and the way I was recruited to come here, which is through athletics. I always had, like, UCF has a couple people that are international and they are on a team. So I still have those people that play sport and they are also international, but I never had really like a group of like people from my country. They were basically always all athletes, and I'm still involved in it, so that relationship is still there. But I wish I had like another outside of athletics group where I could be with kind of like just like normal people that are not involved with athletics. That would be really nice.
I would say I don't really have what you might call a support group. So for me, it's just about making friends. So since I've been here for like almost 2 years, the number of people I know have increased drastically. So as I walk by, I just keep saying hi to whomever I know, and like people who's actually with me start getting annoyed, like, why do you know so many people around? So it's that kind of thing that gets you on. So it's just about having people around you. It's not really having a group for me. It's like just have a group of, like anyone just to have a talk with. That's it.
Well, like someone else said, I got involved with, I think it was Nadia who said she went tabling, and my freshman year I went up to the volunteer UCF table, and I had volunteered in high school, different associations, so I just started talking to them and was like, well, let me sign up and do something, and I ended up getting involved with them, doing a lot of stuff, and then becoming a student director on their board. So I would say the support group I got from them was really important to me my freshman year, and then it carried on through my sophomore year, and that was it. And then now this semester, getting involved with some of the exchange students that are international students, after coming back from my exchange, I kind of know what they're going through, and I envy it because I wish I was back in their situation studying abroad. So turning to them as a support group and in turn supporting them, that's been meaningful to me this semester. And those are people that I know that we're going to stay friends, because my friends in Australia, we're still friends. We are going to Europe next summer. I just went to one of the girls' weddings a few weeks ago. So those support groups of just international students, or just people that have been through the same experiences as you, are easy to find here at UCF because there's so many, and I think that they're going to continue after today.
Okay, great. I'm going to ask you a question. what would you say are some helpful hints that you'd share with a domestic student interested in studying internationally?
Well, I would say, first of all, get started early. Know that even if you have the slightest idea about studying abroad or about going on exchange or just traveling somewhere during your time at UCF, go and talk to someone at the study abroad office. They're going to have plenty of opportunities for you. Even if you have no idea where you want to go, they'll be able to work with you based on your major, based on your interests, something like that. So just get started early and go talk to someone about it. It's easy to just look at the website and then say, oh, there's nothing for me, and get discouraged and forget. But I would say the most important thing is that here at UCF, we have so much opportunity to go abroad. We really want to send our students and increase our global network. So the study abroad office is really advocating for students to go out and seek those opportunities. So I would say, first off, go and talk to someone, and then just meet other people that are interested in doing the same thing as you. So I met one of my coworkers that was studying marketing as well, and we talked about going to Australia, and she kind of became my partner for it. We ended up going together, and we came back as best friends. So find people with similar interests and similar goals. It's really easy to look at all the opportunity we have here in Orlando in America and just kind of be complacent with that and say, oh, well, why study abroad when I have this job offer waiting for me in Texas when I'm done? But why not take advantage of the opportunities where you're gonna get some help financially and a lot of help, emotionally while you're in college? Take advantage of those. And more helpful hints, save up, because I saved for 2 years for my study abroad, and I came back with $13 in my bank account, and I still wish I could have done more stuff because all the opportunities when you go abroad are there. I got to do a lot, but I wish I could have just never came back and just traveled forever. So.
Oh, that's great. Okay. The next question would be for international students who came here.
How did you prepare to learn about the culture and the language before you came to UCF? Are there some classes that you had to take, and maybe you watched some movies and listened to American music? And how did you prepare yourself to come here?
I was taking English classes, and I was sure I'm perfect. But I got so disappointed in myself when I got to the airport and I couldn't understand anything what custom people was asking me. Because I've been learning British English, and in America it's completely different, like it's already been told. And I couldn't catch any word, any phrase, and that was really frustrated. But I just had to calm down, and I told myself, I know that it just sounds a little bit different, and just kept talking, and I get involved with people who speak English. I find my first job was at 7-Eleven, so people speak only English there, and I had choice, so work in a place where lots of Russian people work, but I chose hard one, so that's how I improved my English. But before I came here, that was my preparation, English classes. It's useful, but at first moment you feel like, oh my God, I just wasted my time and my money. And read books, of course.
I don't think you can really prepare for the culture. You come and you have to experience it. You can't really prepare for a culture. Even if you watch movies or you know what an IHOP is, but you will understand only when you go there and have the experience. I prepared for the language with having also tutors, and because I had to take the SAT a couple times just to get admitted into UCF. But the same thing, only when you come and you are forced to speak everyday English, that's the way you learn it the best, and just you have to experience it in order to really understand and learn something from it, I think.
I agree that we cannot really prepare to come and face the culture, but with the language I was very lucky because my parents, since I was little, they were like, oh, go and study English, and I was like, why do I have to study English? I don't like one more school. So then I studied in an institution that is connected to the embassy there in Brazil. So they said that I had some opportunities, and I just came.
I would say our mode of education itself is in English, so there wasn't much of a problem. But then one aspect would be that since this country is so diverse and there are so many people from different countries, each of them, although they speak English, you have their ethnic accent that pops in now and then. So it takes time to get used to that, and for others to get used to us too. So it's a two-way traffic over there. So it just takes some getting used to for adjusting. And as a culture aspect, I would say you just need to be a dry sponge and absorb all you can, and just take the best of all. That's it.
I know Sharif didn't mention he watches a lot of American shows, and that's what I was expecting to hear, is that watching movies in English. Or
Jersey Shore, stuff like that. That's the international students that came there. They watched Jersey Shore and they're like,
John Oliver.
You don't sound like that. I'm like, oh no, that's a different part of the country. That's not Orlando. It's a very specific group of people. So they were kind of shocked.
All right. We have a little bit of time left, so I wanted to turn time to the audience if you have any more questions.
I had a question. If you were a new international student coming here, where is the first place you would go, and what has been the best resources initially when you came here to help you integrate with the student?
ISC. I go there all the time. They're like, they know me personally. They're like, it's you again. So, so to me, that's the home at UCF, I would say.
I agree with that. I think that's where I went the first couple days when I got here. And we had like I don't know what it was called, but they like taught us like the little things that are different and about the culture. But it was just like a short version of what's coming, what it's gonna be like. But it was helpful. But then you still have to like every day was like a challenge, and then day by day it was getting easier. Like in the beginning it was like really hard just to adjust to everything, and I think it took me honestly like a whole year until I felt comfortable living here. It was a big transition.
It's pretty much like no matter how much you read about swimming, until you get into the water you can't really know what swimming is, right? So it's pretty much that way, I guess.
Have any more questions?
Yeah. So I was hoping you could maybe talk a little bit about the classroom experience itself. Maybe something that could have helped you better understand the teacher. A lot of you guys talked about language and different words that were barriers or made it a little difficult, or things that the professors could have done, or even just online. We use that UCF website to turn in a lot of assignments. If you can elaborate on that experience and what could maybe have helped the language barrier in that case. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, but really everything, from my perspective, everything is done so well, and I have nothing to complain about. I wouldn't change anything.
Well, go ahead, yeah. Sorry.
I went up to the professors and I introduced myself. I told them, hey, this is my first week here in the United States. I'm just like overwhelmed with everything, and just try to make those relationships where they understand that you're struggling, and they will understand and they will help you out. It's just about communicating with them, and it's like they're also human, so they will understand that if you're in a new environment and you're struggling, that they will help you out.
It's pretty much like that. You just need to make your faculty be aware of the situation or difficulties they're facing. But then, like the question you asked about, like the linguistic problems that you have, it's just about a period of time. You just go there for a couple of classes, and then you know how the accent is, like how it's being pronounced. So it's just getting used to the accent. That's it. And right now, like all graduate courses, I think they are mandatory to be recorded on web courses, integrity. So first thing is like getting used to the layout of web courses, but once you're in, like you pretty much know how to do everything. So it's just that initial like 1 or like say a month with buffer, let's say, should be enough to get used to the system.
One of the good things about Global UCF is that during the first year we take classes only with international students. So our classes were smaller and we had more attention, which was good. We could get to the professor easily and ask questions, so we had more attention.
We have one more question in the back.
I am the student. I want to find out if the International Student Office organizes any training for our faculty members. Because I know they want to help, but sometimes when you are in class, it's very easy for them to forget that there are strangers in the class. And then sometimes cultural differences make it difficult for us to go to them. It takes us a while before we can approach them. So I want to know if you have any training for them so they will be aware that we are A and we have our challenges that comes with using English as a second language.
Does any faculty want to answer that question or maybe suggest something? Maybe comment. I think it's true. It is really hard to adjust to the culture in the classroom, and I think you have to talk to the professor, like the panelist said. It's really helpful to come to the professor and ask what you're struggling with, and to see how they can help you. But I'm not really sure about the training. You probably have to go to the faculty as well to answer that question. Let's see. Do you have any more questions in the audience?
Could I add something to what she just asked?
Yeah.
I think it would be helpful if you went to Global UCF or one of our international offices to talk to someone and see if maybe they could get something started, because I would say a lot of the professors that I've had here at UCF are open to that, and they recognize that our international students are so integral to our success as a university and trying to build that up. And talk to them about saying, hey, these are things that maybe they could know about. Because I had, like I said, I had an international student come and talk to just my 10 student RA staff, and they told us things that a lot of my coworkers, they've never been out of the United States. Some of them have never been out of Florida, and they didn't understand, like, oh, when I say RA, an international student doesn't know what that means. When I say, oh, go to OSI, do this and do that, that language doesn't help our international students at all. But after he did that training, it was only 25 minutes. It opened up the eyes of a lot of our students. So if you feel like things like that, like your professor understanding, in my culture, me approaching my professor isn't acceptable. So I would talk to someone in an international office and see if they could maybe put together a program. I know for my job here on campus, I have to go through little web course trainings, and maybe that's something that professors have to do. I don't know as a student, but if that was a little module that you could help create and you could make a difference for other international students, I would try and talk to someone that you feel comfortable with in an international office, and maybe you could get something started that could change our system here at the university. So I would try that out.
Thank you. All right, one last question. All right, I have a question. What do you like most about America, and what about living in a different country do you find hard to adapt to? But mostly, what is your favorite thing?
Free right turns. Free right turns.
Right turns on red lights.
Well, like I said, me coming from India, I would say India itself is diverse. Like, I wouldn't survive, or I might, I don't know. If I go up north, I'm from southern India, but if I go up north, I'm not sure like how long it will take for me to adjust, like, because the languages are different, the traditions are different, everything's different, and that's a different diversity over there. And then America, you find people from different countries all around over here. So that's one thing I really like about. You get to know people from different places. So maybe sometime if you're on a vacation, you can go to their place, stay, you know. So, so that's something I like. So, yeah.
I really like the diversity because, I don't know, in my country I feel like if I go out with a certain clothes that I want and people don't like, they would just stare at me. But here I can walk the way I want and nobody, I feel like this, that nobody is like judging me with their eyes all the time. Because when I came as an international student, it was really scary for me. My accent and everything, everybody would look at me and I didn't feel at all anything like this here. Everybody's very welcoming and I love it.
I like how friendly people are in general. It doesn't matter if you're at school or you go in the supermarket, you can just random person say hi, how are you? And sometimes it makes your day. If you're in a bad mood and somebody asks how you doing, you just smile back and you feel different.
I like the positivity, how the people are. Just what she said, it's like the goal is to be like happy and like everything's like trying to be like everybody's trying to help you out. So being positive and seeing the good side of life is, I think that's something that's really good about America, because back home like there's a lot of negativity and so yeah, positivity.
What would you say about Australia?
Oh, well, going to Australia, my favorite thing was, if I thought people were friendly in America, like, Australians are so friendly. I had just so many people offering to help carry my groceries home and stuff like that, and it was just such a great culture. And then coming back to America, the thing I missed most was food. I missed the American food when I was there because I love my junk food. And so they didn't have Taco Bell, they didn't have Dunkin' Donuts. So I came back and I like went on a binge eat for a week, just eating all the things I couldn't find in Australia. So I miss my family too. They were great. Yeah, I loved our American food. And that there's always something to do here. So that's great.
Yes. All right. Thank you very much, panelists, for your time and for your great answers. You really did a good job, and thank you for your questions that you've been asked. I hope this was a helpful panel for both the students and faculty to learn what the international students are really going through, and maybe help them sometimes, and implement some changes, and maybe try different programs that could help better attest to international students and help domestic students go travel abroad. But thank you very much for coming. Let's give the panelists a round of applause. For closing remarks.
Julia said everything I wanted to say. My name is Darren Payne, and I'm the Assistant Director for the International Services Center. And you again? So the SCS Internationalization Subcommittee, one of their main focus is trying to make sure that the other offices on campus are aware of the needs of the international students. There are over 1,700 of them. It might seem very small to you, but for us, it's a large population with different needs that might not be serviced without a focus on these areas. And so we're not looking for you to change what you do, but we're looking at you to sort of remark it or try to make an effort to kind of be inclusive of our international population itself. And I think Scott had a question about what has changed. And one of the things that's new is no panel. This is the second year we've had it. This is the second time we've invited staff and faculty to come and hear about the needs of our students. And so without the panel, some of you might not be aware of the needs that the students have. So this is a great change for us, and hopefully this will continue during the time that we're here. Also, for those of you who actually, this is also the part of the International Education Week. I'm going to plug that for just 1 second. So for those of you who might not be aware, this whole week, Monday to Friday, is our International Education Week, and we have events on our website, iew.ucf.edu. And for those of you who are interested in being part of international students' life, we have an international mentoring program. So if you're interested, please let us know, send us an email, call us, let us know, because we have new students all the time that come in and they just want to get acculturation, health adapting. So we're very much looking for UCF staff and faculty members to be part of that. And one of the things that we do at orientation that we tell the students while we talk about adjustments is to be patient and always ask questions. We don't know what their needs are unless they ask us for those questions. And so one of the reasons he comes to our office all the time is because we want to be a source of all their questions. Okay. And we love you to be there, of course. So always be open and patient. And we ask that for the staff as well, to be open and patient as well. Their language skills might not be the best, and we're in Florida, so everyone has an accent. Everyone sounds a little bit different. English is not the same there. So from me, coming from an international country as well, I'm from St. Vincent, a very tiny country, and we only have 100,000 people, so everybody's my cousin. So you know, it's enlightening to us to see other staff members be involved and want to be, you know, understand the needs that are there. They don't always have to, you don't have to know right off the bat, but if you give yourself time, patient, and listen to the questions, then you can understand what their needs are. We want to thank you so much for coming out today. We know it's busy and it's raining now. It's not my fault. So we're going to let you go, but thank you so much for coming out today.